let me start first with why did you pick this year?
Well, 1950 was a no-brainer for me. Whenever you see Sunset Boulevard and All About Eve on the same list, I'm like, oh, easy. Those are two of my all-time favorite movies. They're spectacular from beginning to end. They hold up. I've seen them each at least probably 30 times.
Yeah.
I had not seen any of the other movies on this list, however, so the other four were new to me. And are hard to hold up to two of my all-time favorite movies.
It's funny too, because in doing this and seeing so many movies I've never seen before, and they're so good. Or they're so bad. But there's so many gems out there that I've never seen. So I don't even know how to pronounce, is it Red Danube or Debonair? Do you think it's Debonair?
I think it's Danube.
Danube.
Yeah.
Oh, I was totally off. Well, so go ahead.
I actually watched that twice. I wanted to like that movie more than I did. I think when I called you on the phone, I said I liked it, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then I watched it again, and
and then you took it down.
Well, I mean, it's beautifully shot, and there are some really great scenes, but I think overall, given the subject matter, I wish it had more of a emotional impact than it actually did.
Well, we have, and out of all of them, it's pretty serious. It's this most serious movie.
Yeah,
it's completely. The rest of them, you got a lot about Hollywood, the circus, and the moon, and then this one is.
I know 1950 was an odd mix of films.
Yeah,
I mean, very eclectic. You have a science fiction, space exploration, a war drama, a musical comedy. It sort of runs the gamut of interests.
Yeah, it was a nice, very rounded. But so 3 nominated black and white films: All About Eve, The Red Danube, and Sunset Boulevard. And then for color, Annie Get Your Gun, Destination Moon, and Sansom and Delilah, which was the highest grossing film of the year. That was like the big movie of the year, Samson and Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we'd do alphabetical.
Okay.
So let's start with All About Eve, which is seemingly timid but secretly ruthless little wannabe inserts herself into the lives of aging Broadway star and her circle of friends. Production designer George W. Davis and Lyle L. Wheeler, set decorators Thomas Little and Walter M. Scott. And this, in timing wise, I had read this book, Oscar Wars, and they did a whole chapter about All About Eve and Sunset Boulevard. So I was so happy because I picked up some tidbits, but even you and I know the movie is so poignant because in Hollywood or, anywhere, any other career, you always have someone who wants to take your place. But especially in Hollywood.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. And so, we have this aging actress and someone wants to take her place, but it was so poignant in Hollywood because this really was happening. This first generation of Hollywood actors was getting old. Like Gloria Swanson they were old. She was almost, in hiding at that point because she wasn't a star anymore. And so it's so true and so humiliating in a sense that you're getting older and people are replacing you.
Yeah.
But 14 Oscar nominations. It was the most critically acclaimed movie of the year was this and Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, they're perfect from start to finish. I mean, the acting, the script, the directing, and All About Eve won Best Picture and Best Director that year, right? Even though they didn't win for production design.
I think Sunset Boulevard won Best Picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to double check that. But yeah, or maybe you're right. Am I right? You're right. All About Eve won Best Picture. Yeah. Yeah. The significance between the two also is great because you get to see, this is like New York Hollywood, and Sunset Boulevard
Hmm.
is like LA Hollywood behind the scenes.
Yes.
And there's so many films that I've watched in this series of dressing rooms, like actors in
Hmm.
dressing rooms, and this is one of my favorites.
I love all the scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I just like watching people eat and drink and smoke cigarettes and talk,
Yeah.
wander around houses in fabulous clothing.
Yes.
And
Sachet.
what I notice about the sets in All About Eve and Sunset Boulevard too, probably that a lot of people, we notice things that other people wouldn't notice. I mean, this still you have up right now, for example, of this dressing room. I mean, all the little notices behind her mirror, and
Yeah.
I look at lampshades, and
Yeah.
having done period, can now it's like those are things that are so hard for us to find. It just makes me wonder what filmmaking was like in this year. What the
Yeah.
studio prop houses were like that no longer exist. Paramount, 20th Century Fox, that where all of that stuff was auctioned off in like the early 70s, I think.
Yeah.
But it does make you, I watch these movies and I wonder what these designers and decorators had at their fingertips.
Yeah.
Where were they able to source stuff versus what did they make? And, when
I
you were on studio lot, I'm sure there were tons of craftspeople that worked there that,
Yeah. Well, they had, it's that studio system. Not
yeah,
only did everyone, like, they had, actors and designers under contract. I mean, um the designers, sometimes they have credits of, 500 films because
yeah. They did every movie that came through
yeah.
that particular studio.
I mean, Hans Dreyer has credits for 550 art directing credits,
Wow.
including Sunset Boulevard, Double Indemnity, the I mean, that system, and they had, all the carpenters didn't just work on one film, they worked on every film. Today you're
Yeah.
on stage 14, today you're on stage 10. And the costumers, so I think you're right in saying, like, they had, their own prop house that they
Hmm.
used. And I don't know, I guess if they had to go out and go to somebody else's, they could rent. I don't know. I really don't know what the process was back then of renting other scenery. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't either.
I love the telegrams, like you're saying, like the telegrams, and then the pipes. Like, they're down in the basement. It's a state under the stage to sort of dressing
Hmm.
room.
And I think they shot this movie I know they shot the theater interiors in San Francisco, and then I think all the stage work was done at Fox here in LA.
I think so. I think you're right. Let me see. Filming in Manhattan, San Francisco, the Taft Hotel in Connecticut, Manhattan, New Haven, and Stage 11 at Fox. So, yeah.
I always picture it when you watch it, you sort of think, oh, it was all shot in New York.
Yeah, I know.
And there aren't a lot of exteriors on this in this
No.
movie.
Well, there's this. I mean,
That one I remember.
I love that poster. Margo Channing, aged in wood.
Aged in wood.
So great.
But I've always wondered about the exteriors where the characters actually live, because you do see. I mean, there are obviously lots of scenes in Margo Channing's. I imagine she lives in a New York townhouse or something.
Yeah.
But we never do see the exteriors of the
No,
home.
you don't see her building exterior.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the dressing room and her apartment was a build. I can assume, and I think one of the restaurants was a build. But her apartment is.
It's amazing. That fireplace, you can just crawl into it. It's so massive.
That fireplace, and unfortunately, this lampshade is blocking that seat that comes, like, out of the wall. It's
Yes.
so fantastic. I love all the woodwork. But it's not quite, it's not 50s, because this is only probably shot in 49. It was released in 49. So it's really the 40s is what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Which is, a wonderful design era to be in. But I love the sunken living room. I think
I
that's a
love the sunken living room.
it's such a wonderful choice in design because she's an actor. And look at it, just this scene where they give you her and then looking down on people.
Yeah. I think it was smart because this is a very long scene, this
Yeah.
bumpy ride party scene.
Yeah.
So, but there is a lot of action of her running up and down the staircase and the actor sitting on the staircase
Yeah, let's get to the
and then
staircase.
in that living room pit.
Oh, but
It's
yeah.
pretty.
I have the staircase. We'll get back to her bedroom. I mean, the apartment just goes on and on. The staircase is, yeah.
I love the art on the stairwell.
I love the shadow that they get off of the railing.
Yeah.
And it's not big. It's not a wide staircase. And in a sense of like, hey, we're going to have this huge scene here. We're going to have 6 people sitting on this staircase at one point. You think they would have made it wider.
I know the rooms in that apartment are not big.
I like that they didn't, though. It's more realistic.
Yeah.
It's better.
It is better.
And look, it just goes down. Like, how big is her apartment?
I want to go all the way down the stairs. I want to see what her foyer looked like.
Yeah. And of course, Marilyn's in it. I mean, it's
such a good movie.
It's such a good movie. I love the kitchen. Seeing old glassware and old bottles and everything is always a joy. And like this, like the metal cabinets, right?
Yeah.
It's great.
Metal cabinets are great.
The sliding cabinets too, like that action where you can dress it and keep it open. And then the tile. But her bedroom, I mean, the quilted headboard with the matching drapery.
Which we love to do.
Oh, yeah.
We love to duplicate that.
Oh my God, yeah. And
look at that lampshade. Again, I'm noticing all the lampshades.
With, like the tiering of it is so fantastic. I wish I could go back and look at that lit. Wonder if I have that. But this film cost $1.4 million to make. That was a lot. I think that was a lot back then. I think. I'm not sure. Seems like a lot. I like that she's the exercise bike in the back.
I have never noticed that. That exercise bike out on her
terrace
balcony. That must be her balcony.
Yeah.
As many times as I've seen this, I've never seen that.
Yeah, well, actors, they got to work out. This is their life. But yeah, it's certainly a great picture to reference for this time period too. Mm-hmm. Of design.
And again, I just wonder how they approached her living space. Since it obviously was probably a full build. I'm just so curious as to what conversations were about the art she would have or the dishes she would have. And
yeah, because the art's kind of all over the place. Look at the scale. Like they're not like, it's not like a set. It's that you kind of usually do up a staircase sometimes, or one big one, or it's kind of all over. But yeah, I love her apartment. And then I don't know if because this whole restaurant, it's pretty big. And then she walks to the bathroom. You see like a huge restaurant. I don't know if maybe that was one of the locations they had, because let me see if it says a restaurant. Taft Hotel. The 21 Club. But that could have been the first and final scene.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that the same restaurant?
No.
That they go from the beginning where she wins the award?
These are 2 different restaurants. The top one is when she's winning the award. And the bottom one is the other restaurant. The Stork Club, it says down there.
They look, in the photos, they look very similar.
Yeah. The other sets, like there's like hotel rooms and Eve's dressing room. They don't, this is one of the best things ever. In the end
Eve's apartment at the very end, yeah.
Is it her apartment or is it a hotel room? That's
Oh,
what
I guess it's.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's her
I can't
apartment.
remember if she's traveling or if she's in New York and that's her actual space.
I think it's her hotel room
It's a hotel room.
because
Well,
she
that would
came
explain the
into
trunks right
town.
there in that photo.
Maybe she came into town for the award. But the best part is, she all of a sudden starts to get stalked by a little wannabe, and this chick right off the bat puts on her robe and her award, and it's like
Yeah.
it will happen to you.
And that actress ended up committing suicide.
Which one? The one?
Uh, the one at the very end that befriends her that wants to become her assistant.
Oh, I don't even know who
Yeah.
that is. Who is that girl?
I don't know. I had looked her up once, and
Mm.
it's one of those tragic Hollywood stories,
Oh,
unfortunately.
jeez. She made it all the way to Best Picture. You think she could have hung on?
Yeah.
It's a sin. Um, I think this is that club.
Oh, right. Where
This,
Eve wins her Sarah Siddons Award.
yes, and because there's a lot of detail in those walls. That might be a real room. I don't know.
Okay, again, I've never noticed. Looking at the stills is so interesting because my eyes wander to so many other things during this scene, and obviously there's a lot of floral arrangements, but I've never noticed those guns on the wall below the below the
That's
paintings.
odd, isn't it? But maybe that's why it is the 21. What is it? 21 gun salute, 21 club.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's why they have guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd think for this scene, maybe we don't need the guns. Like maybe they could have taken them down a little. But yeah, I mean, I think overall the best design of it is her apartment. I think her
Yeah.
apartment is really, and they're in, like you said, like they're in there for like half the movie.
Margo Channing's apartment. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is the longest scene. And they make the most use of the space. They are in every room as she gets more and more drunk
Yeah.
throughout the night.
Yeah. I mean,
But the decorating is beautiful. I mean,
yeah. Look at that huge
all the
rug.
surfaces, all the tables. I mean, it does feel appropriate for an actress of her caliber to have all of those things, and they look very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, look at the detail on the vanity, the skirting, and like,
Yeah.
um, oh, maybe that's the lamp lit back there. No, maybe that's a different lamp. And the crystal and like the
Yeah,
crystal.
the sconces, the chandeliers. I
Yeah,
mean,
but not too much. Like she's an actress, but
no.
she's not royalty at this point. It's like,
Right. And it feels very tasteful, unlike Sunset Boulevard,
yeah,
which is so much more over the top.
yeah. Oh, that's great.